The Best of the West offers fans an unapologetic assessment of the top teams in the western third of the country, a collection of schools now scattered across 5 conferences, the ACC, Big 12, Big 10, Pac-12 and Mountain West. The rankings will be available weekly on the hotline throughout the regular season. We'll publish a basketball version of the BOTW starting in November. All times Pacific. 1. Utah, 1-0. Last week, 2. Result, beat Southern Utah 49-0. Next up, versus Baylor, 12:30 p.m. on Fox. Comment, it had been so long since quarterback Cam Rising last took a snap for the Utes, 605 days, to be exact, that we forgot how smoothly the offense operates when he has the joysticks, especially the play-action game. If he stays healthy, a college football playoff berth awaits. 2. USC, 1-0. Last week, 5. Result, beat LSU 27-20. Next up, versus Utah State, 8 p.m. on Big Ten Network. Comment, the showdown in Sin City more than met the hype, and USC fans undoubtedly headed home with visions of the CFP dancing in their heads. We hesitate to make any bold pronouncements because of the distinct possibility that LSU isn't very good. The meaning of the result takes on a different hue if the Tigers finish 7-5 as opposed to 9-3 or 10-2. 3. Arizona, 1-0. Last week, 3. Result, beat New Mexico 61-39. Next up, versus Northern Arizona, 7 p.m. on ESPN+. Comment, let's talk about that which has been lost in the deserved attention placed on receiver Tetairoa McMillan. Arizona's defense was this close to awful on Saturday night, much worse than we expected. How much can be attributed to week 1 glitches? We'll know by week 3, when the Wildcats head to Kansas State. 4. Oregon, 1-0. Last week, 1. Result, beat Idaho 24-14. Next up, versus Boise State, 7 p.m. on Peacock. Comment, the hotline is not often surprised, but 36 hours later we are still attempting to comprehend the performance of Oregon's offensive line, specifically the paltry 2.9 yards per run against an Idaho defense that was, in theory, utterly outmanned. 2.9. Unreal. 5. Boise State, 1-0. Last week, 4. Result, 1 at Georgia Southern 56-45. Next up, at Oregon, 7 p.m. on Peacock. Comment, rarely has a group of 5 players so immediately and convincingly justified a Heisman Trophy campaign as Broncos tailback Ashton Jeanty did Saturday night with 267 yards and 6 touchdowns. Those numbers surely got Oregon's full attention. 6. Washington, 1-0. Last week, 6. Result, beat Weber State 35-3. Next up, versus Eastern Michigan, 12:30 p.m. on Big Ten Network. Comment, look hard enough long enough, and you can identify a few nits to be picked. But overall, the Huskies couldn't have asked for much more from Jedd Fisch and Company given the personnel overhauls on both sides of the ball. 7. Arizona State, 1-0. Last week, 13. Result, beat Wyoming 48-7. Next up, versus Mississippi State, 7:30 p.m.